Alrighty, so back again with the transmission part 2, prepping the transmission for reinstall. I am going to be reusing the standard clutch, so the clutch that's already in there, I think it's already got a new one, or relatively new, because it is running great and it's heavier pedal, doesn't seem stock at all. So I've just greased up the parts in there, and now I'm getting ready, and I've loosened up the cup on the other side just in case it hits anything. I can just remove it and hope that there's not a lot of transmission fluid drops out. But yeah, I'm going to reposition it now underneath the car and yeah, start with the struggle. So guys, you need 3 jacks, but I'm making do with only 2. I've managed to position the transmission on the jack. I'm just using a couple of bricks for extenders, but you know, like I said, do it properly at home. I wouldn't advise doing this you know, without 3 jacks, but I've managed to position it in such a way where it might actually go on now. So I'm going to get the cups off again, these things, just buzzing it off, and then it should be good to go. Oh man, day 2 of trying to put the transmission by myself. That is quite the challenge. Making sure that I'm safe underneath the car. The axles, I've removed pretty much everything, man, to try and get this get this transmission on. So what I'm going to do now is put the transmission on my stomach. Oh man, it feels like 30 kilos, you know. I've got the bolts ready to go on and the tools for it. So I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 bolts on while it's on my stomach, and then jack the car up, or just, yeah, try and get the bolts at the top. So wish me luck. This is complete shit job. This is actually day 2 of a first 2 hours I tried to get it on. It was no dice with the jacks. It's a complete shit show, but you know what? I'm going to try it again and I'll record my pain. Right lads, I have After you would have seen me put the transmission on, that was a pain in the ass actually, but was the only way to get it on by myself, so would not recommend it to anyone who's new to this sort of thing. This is my second transmission, so I thought I'd give it a go. So as I was saying, I've started putting all the transmission stuff back again. Got the shifter tower back in, got the bracket back in, I got the slave cylinder in, all of the bolts are in. I've torqued the top up. I'm gonna go down and torque the bottom probably another day. I'm just trying to do all the stuff on top. This looks about ready to put the, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna put the starter back on, but I need to go underneath the car, so I probably would leave that a bit later. I've got the engine or transmission speed sensor on at the back somewhere there. I actually forgot to take it off, so I think it undid itself when I removed the transmission, so hopefully it's okay. If not, then I know where to go to fix it. I've actually reinstalled the cup for the transmission side. I've got to go to the engine side and put that other cup back on, but again, that requires me to go underneath the car, which I'm not, I don't feel like doing today. So that's going to be all for the top of the engine. Alright, so I got the cup on down there to the transmission. I had to take out the drive shaft bolt so I can I maneuvered it out of the way and give me a bit more room to, hang on a sec. Yeah, it gave me a bit more room to pop the cup on without hitting the drive shaft. I'll show you what I mean down here. So I removed it, but I didn't take it out completely. I removed the drive shaft and I just set it aside. I was then able to get the that cup bit on to the transmission, and now that should line up with the bolts. Now this is going to be a bit interesting here, but I'm going to get the drive shaft on this side as well, and then I want to see what bolt actually gets. That's interesting. Does it need a nut or something, or yeah, maybe it's a nut. Anyway, I'm going to then do the transmission fluid, and actually that might be a separate video. I'll tell you guys how to do it in another video. But yeah, I'm going to put the other drive shaft on. Okay, so with the drive shaft bolts, using the spline tool, I'm getting on top of it because that just gives me a bit more room. Make sure it gets threaded in first, and then just loosely get it in there so that you've got everything in evenly. So there's a bit of play left in there. I'm just going to make sure that all the bolts are in and I'm not missing one, and of course I am in fact missing one. But yeah, so just very patiently doing one at a time, and when it comes time to torquing it down, you're going to put the screwdriver in the caliper, hold that thing tight, and then torque it down according to spec. Whatever the spec is, I'm just using Bentley to see what that is. So get that thing snug. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just thought I'd again show you some tips and tricks while getting it back on again. Alright, I'm ready to torque this down. So for the other side, engine side, drive shafts, very easy. If you are underneath the car, or if you're not, jack it up, it's just easier. You can get access to 3 bolts at a time. 1, 2, 3, same method, screwdriver in the caliper, torque it down, start with the star method, and then just torque it all down to, like, you know, 60-70 Newton meters, and that's good from there. So on to the next bit. I might just start putting this on and go from there. Alright, so back at it again. I'm going to now try and lock this transmission, so I can start buttoning up everything around it. So getting pretty close now. I've since then changed the tie rod ends. I've filled the transmission. I've buttoned up all the bottom bits. I've got the transmission belt, lower mount on. Yeah, what else is there? I think that's it. Got some bolts underneath there, which I'll get, but yeah, that's what I've got left to do. This is a tough job. By no means is it easy. Alright, so let me get to straightening this out. Right, so this took a bit of faffing around, but to get this bit on there, I've already got it on. This is a spare one from the spare transmission. Yeah, you're gonna have to slide this in between that. So yeah, my one's a bit broken there, but yeah, you're gonna have to slide it in between so that you can select the gears properly. So I'm gonna replace that broken bit with this one and show you how that works. You just make sure that plastic sits comfortably on this weight thing. So it's a plastic retainer. It just helps move the transmission up and down, side to side, but it's plastic, so you got to be careful. I don't know how I snapped this, but this, I don't know, it might be from an old one. It was already snapped, but now just pop the retaining clips back on to the end, and that should be it. Pop these plastic gear pullers, whatever you want to call it, on, and then pop the retaining clips on. Now, before you undo the spring on those plastic grabbers, you have to get a 5mm drill bit and just line up the transmission in the middle so it doesn't move around. That's dead center for it to be reset, and then you're going to have to lock the transmission side with a little plastic bit there, just so it doesn't move up and down too much. So just, yeah, I'll pop it in, and I've got to use two hands because I don't want to break the plastic bit. But yeah, I'll come back and show you. Plastic bit there is now pushed in. Can't move the transmission anymore, you don't want to, and this is where you can align your realign your transmission if it's really notchy. So I'm going to put the retaining clips back on. I need two hands again. I'll be back. Alrighty, so I've got the arms back on again. I've got the retaining clips on, and now it's just simply release the spring like that. Do it both sides. You gotta push in and let go, and now that's it. So undo the plastic grabber there, take up the 5mm bit inside, and test if it goes into first and second. So I'll do that now. Alrighty, so that's a success. All the gears go into place. First, second, all that is dead on. Now I'm going to just pop all the plastics back on again. This bit's boring, and there's no real tips and tricks I can give you here, so I'm just gonna cut out, get it done, and come back. Alrighty, so just like that, everything's back together again. I don't have the wheels on just yet, but in terms of the plastic and engine bay, that's all done. Right, so it's going to be time to give it a start. Fingers crossed that it all turns out well. Here we go. Uh-oh. Alrighty guys, a week has passed, and I would love to tell you that it has been smooth sailing after you saw me do the removing the transmission and reinstalling it again, but it has not been. And I'll tell you why. I actually installed the transmission, what do you call this, the clutch fork. I installed it the wrong way. So in the car you're supposed to have it that way. It's supposed to sit like that. For some reason, unknown to me or any person, I had it on like this, complete backwards. And I then installed it, and it's I don't know what it spent, but I've changed it over now. It was completely wrong. So the car wouldn't start when I reinstalled everything. I was trying to find out why, and then the clutch fork or the clutch pedal snapped. When I say snapped, there's a metal plate that connects up to the clutch switch plastic. That popped out because there was just too much pressure from my leg pushing it, and there was no play in the slave cylinder. So what ended up happening was the plate just dropped. So I had to take and remove the clutch pedal out. I didn't film it because by then I was already too far gone and too far frustrated, and that wasn't my intentional job to begin with. So you guessed it, I ended up dropping the transmission again. Oh, that got to me. That got to me because I'll tell you that the reinstall of the transmission was a pain in the butt. That took forever, and especially if you're doing it yourself with a couple of jacks. I didn't have any transmission jacks, and to be honest, I don't think the transmission jack is going to help you all too much anyway because of how tight the spaces were. But I can tell you that it's doable by yourself. I had the car jacked up. It's jacked up now. I'm just finally trying to put undo the car. We'll put the car down again. But it can be done by yourself. I jacked the car up on jack stands. I supported the engine using a jack or a couple of jacks just to make sure it doesn't drop, because I had the engine down pretty low. I placed the transmission onto my chest, and you actually have to, I'll show you one of the tips here. You actually have to clock it so this section here is facing up. Okay, so that down here that's on your chest, that's facing up, and then you're going to have to use your legs and push the transmission up and get that on as much as you can, and just use your hand to try and push it in as much as you can, and then you can let the jack do the rest. So slide out under the car if you can, grab the jack, pop a brick on it or something so you can give you more leverage, and just jack up the end so that you can sort of position and clock the transmission left to right and just slide it on. And once you get one bolt at the top, one bolt at the bottom on, preferably the 18mm up there and maybe over there, close to the starter, and you can sort of just torque those two back and forward just to make it so it's flush, all the while playing with the jack and just jacking it up and making it flush. You don't actually need to remove the cups. I removed the cups initially, but then on the second go, when I dropped the transmission again to flip the throw out plate fork thingy majiggy to how it's meant to be, I left the cups on, and then I decided to clock the transmission up so that's facing up like that. So that's the normal position there, so you want to just clock that so that's facing up, and use your chest and legs to push it up as much as you can. It's going to be tiring. I would suggest doing it in chunks. Don't do it all in one day. If you're going to do it, try and do it in 2 days. Give yourself a rest, give your body a rest. That's if you're doing it by yourself. If you've got mates that can come over, then yeah, you can get them to try and help you out from the top or something like that. But honestly, you're pretty much gonna push this up and get get the jack under it as fast as you can. So there you go. Instead of doing 1 transmission swaps, I did 2. But you know, you learn things along the way. What else? I changed a couple of bits while the car was up, so all of the, you know, steering arm bushes, or what is it, tie rod end bushes, I changed. The pedal I got out, and you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a Google on the clutch pedal failing on the Mark IVs and the Audi A3 S3, Audi TT. You know, anything that's using the Mark IV platform, the clutch pedal is kind of weak, and if your clutch is heavy, then you're more prone to snapping it. I snapped it anyway because I didn't have my installation correct to begin with. So what I was just getting it taking the pedal out, which was a huge pain in the butt, and then I got that reinforced and welded essentially on all 4 sides just to close it in. And that's it. So I tested the car on jack stands. It turned on, goes into gear, first and second, it spins, no noise. I'm about to drop the car. I might do a test drive later on, I don't know. I'm pretty beat, but yeah, just wanted to tell everyone about just some interesting fails along the way, I'm going to say. And yeah, just when I stuffed up the install, it was a huge downer, but I just got on with it, man. So what do you do? Shit happens, you learn. I am the top bit there around the mouth of the what's it called, the slave cylinder, into one of the sockets, so that when I finished installing it, I cut the zip tie and just pulled out the plastic bits from the outside, so that at least held it into place. I think what happened was this dropped during the install, and I was trying to just grab it and shove it back in, and I must have grabbed it the wrong way. So zip tie it down, hold it in place. Install will be much easier for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're still following this saga, that's the end of it, I hope. And I thank everyone for watching so far, and I'll see you in the next video.